you do talk about handling anxiety.
Mm,
Now, I think this is something that not many people talk about, especially not in the language learning community. And
mm.
how do you manage anxiety? How do you deal with that whole situation? Because I mean, it's something that I know that we all go through, and
Mhm.
you've delved into this kind of realm a bit. What do you think about the topic?
So, so I still do suffer from anxiety to this day.
Hmm.
It's just I've learned to live around it for the most part. And then I've written a couple articles on my blog about how I do that. So similarly to how my friend would, you know, there'd be a person, and he might be afraid to talk to that person, and then he'd feel the fear, and the fear would drive him. That's similar to what I do with anxiety. So when you get on a roller coaster, you're scared, but you know you're safe. And then the fear almost fuels the fun. Like the feeling of being afraid makes it enjoyable. Like when when you're going, you're falling really fast, you're scared, but you're enjoying yourself. So that's more or less what I ended up doing with anxiety. So um, there's still a lot of things that scare me. So especially, like after the pandemic and everything, and like not being able to be social with people and everything,
I
I found that I've gotten a lot more shy again, and I've kind of receded
For
back
sure,
into
yeah.
my shell.
Me too.
Um, even like doing this call, like before the call, I was kind of nervous because I
Me
was like,
too.
I haven't done this kind of thing in a while. But just like a roller coaster, it's scary, and if you can learn to turn the fear into the enjoyment factor, then it's easier to do it. So I was like, you know what? I am afraid to do a video interview. It's been a long time since I've done one. But you know what? I'm going to turn that fear into the drive. And then when I frame it this way, um, how can I explain it? So it's like even right now, I do feel a little bit nervous, but I'm using that nervousness to fuel it because I know that if I keep pushing myself to do this, eventually I'll get back to the point where a video interview isn't something that makes me feel nervous anymore. Um, and also, it's kind of like I've had a lot of experiences, kind of just like like it's in my hand and then it just slipped because I was too anxious to go after something, or like just too scared to do it. So the fear, not necessarily the fear of what if, but like, well, the what if, and the fact that I let my anxiety stop me from doing things actually scares me more than most of the time. The idea of not
Wow.
doing what I want to do because of anxiety scares me more than actually just trying. So a lot of the time, like right now I'm in Vancouver, and I'm from Ontario, and I mean the pandemic was like, it's pretty crazy. And then a job opened up out west. So I flew across the country to come work out here. I just got laid off because the season kind of came to an end because of the pandemic again. But coming out scared me because I was like, I could move out there and then there could be a huge spike in cases. And then I might have to go back home and then like I don't have a job again. But then I was thinking, or I could just stay here and not be working, and like not trying. And then when I looked at it that way, when I framed it that way, um staying home was actually scarier than coming out here, because if I stayed at home, I knew I was going to be bored and unfulfilled and just stuck at home, not working, not really doing much. And I knew if I came out here, yeah, it might be scary, yeah, it might not work out, yeah, I might have to go back home. But the fear pushed me, and then also it was a lot more scarier just to not try. So I just always try to frame things in the sense that if I don't try, not trying is actually scarier than just trying and potentially failing. And then that's how I kind of get around anxiety. I just use the fear
Wow.
to fuel me, and then I just reframe the situation so that it's not as scary.
What an amazing answer. And I completely agree because yeah, I have this ideal of the man that I want to be, and it's a man that goes after what he wants and that doesn't let the fear control him. But still, the fear is there, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically going to end the interview this way. I'm going to mention something that's you know it's kind of personal. I never expected to have an interview about such kind of these kind of topics about especially intertwined with language learning.
Mm-hmm.
There's a park near my apartment. It's a wonderful park. It's a park that I walk in, that I run in, and I thought, oh, it'd be nice to kind of like make a video or make some kind of thing when necessary or when I could like walking through the park. But it's like just the idea of me like holding a phone and speaking, whether it be Spanish and people are going to see that I'm a foreigner, they're going to be like, what's that? Or if it's just speaking English, then it's like all the attention that I'm going to get from speaking English. And, you know, you have a video where you talk about just this kind of topic, you know, the anxiety situation. And I thought the most inspiring thing about that was at the end of the video, you're walking through Germany and you're doing exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you're filming yourself while walking through a public place and you're saying, right now, I'm nervous, but hey, this is what I want to do, so therefore this is what I'm doing. And just by seeing this video made me think, like, if I ever do have an idea and I could, you know, apply it to doing it, let's say in that park, man, I got to do it despite all my fears, all my, you know, being nervous. And, you know, before it was just like one of those ideas that I was playing with, oh, it would be really cool, but like all these things that, you know, could make it hard for me to do it. But now I almost feel like I have to do it just because of that video. So with that, so I want to say thank you for the interview and thank you for your inspiration. And that's all.
Anytime. Thank you.
So I'm going to leave all your information in the description. Are there any parting words that you would like to leave with?
So I'll try and summarize this little random technique just in the spirit of how we're ending it. So one way that I was also able to kind of learn to push my comfort zone is by taking cold showers. I'm not really doing it right now because the weather's really cold, but I noticed that, I mean, you get in the shower, you turn the water on to cold as it can possibly be. And then I found that the same fear that I would feel before I jump under the water is the same fear that I would feel before approaching someone, before, you know, lying down in the mall and doing all the, excuse me, doing all those things. So I found that by forcing myself to take cold showers every morning. So what I would do is I would get in the shower, turn it on to cold, stand in front of it, and then at first I would repeat it to myself. I'd be like, okay, feel the fear, embrace it, and then act despite it. So like I would stand in front of the cold water. I'd remind myself, this is cold. This is not going to feel good. And then I would let the fear, you know, consume me, and then I would jump in. And then that technique really helped. And then, you know, if I needed to approach someone, if I needed to do something, you know, I'd feel that fear coming in, and I would just be like, you know what? It's just like jumping under the cold, jump under. And then yeah, so I just figured it'd probably be nice to end it on that. Just because yeah, that technique, it's pretty easy to do. Almost anyone can do it because most people have access to cold water, at least in the West. So yeah, I highly recommend using that technique. I learned it in some book or something a little while ago, but yeah. But
Right.
otherwise, thank you. I really appreciate you having me on. It
Very
was a lot of fun.
cool.
Super interesting.
Me too. All right. So
Mm,
we'll see you next time. Thank you so much and have a
mm.
good one.
All right, thank you. You too.